So while children are rushing around to try to go outside and play in the snow before it turns to rain, it's how it works in the lower mainland. It's snowing and then it's raining. I remember when I was a kid, there was one night that was snowing. I was bugging my mom. I was like, I really want to go out and play in the snow. And she said, just go to bed. Just go to bed. It's too late. You're not going out. Go out and play in the snow in the morning. Woke up the next morning early. It's raining. Snow was pretty much gone. Woke her up and showed her. And after that, that was no longer a conversation. If it was snowing, Shannon was allowed to go out and play in it because it could change to rain in an instant. So that's what happens here. It is supposed to warm up and rain in the next couple of hours, so everything will be nice and slushy. But on this day, I figured it was a good time to wear a Winter Classic jersey because it feels like a Winter Classic outside. And it is weird how the NHL logo is below the neckline on this, and then on the Boston, the new third they have that's the throwback, it's below it too, and it makes me wonder if they're thinking of doing something different with the jerseys. Like, remember, the stadium jerseys had some weird ideas. They ended up being incorporated into the Adidas jerseys. So, uh, just food for thought. Maybe the NHL logo is being moved and eventually it'll be off them all. I would be very happy if the NHL logo wasn't on every single jersey, to be honest. But so would counterfeiters. Now, news of the day, Brendan Gallagher, this is troubling. He came back last night, but he's reported today that he's having headaches. So this is a setback. This is still related to his concussion. This is bad. This is bad that he went through all the procedures, went through every step, and now he's still having headaches. So it reminds me of Berchi last year. It reminds me of what Corey Crawford went through as well. When a guy has a setback like this, it can mean months. It can be something that just changes the career of that player going forward. So hopefully that's not the case with Brendan Gallagher. For people wondering about from last night's game, Taylor Hall had a knee-on-knee incident with Andre Palat. There won't be any supplemental discipline for that. I've noticed it seems like there's been some knee-on-knee hits lately, at least reported on that. I don't know. I thought that was something that was basically almost completely gone out of the game. And so he won't be fined or suspended. And good news for Arizona fans tonight is that Antti Ranta's back. This came out after I already had done my preview. So yeah, he's back. He's in the net tonight. So that means Prosvetov's been sent back down to the AHL, and Aiden Hill will be the backup. So hopefully Ranta's healthy from here. Good news for Ottawa fans. No, I'm serious. They've hired a new CEO. Jim Little's been hired as the CEO. He'll overlook business operations from here. You know what? If Eugene Melnick brings in guys to run the business and he's just the owner, and he steps back, that's a brilliant idea. Seriously, that's a really smart idea. We know that Eugene's put his foot in his mouth a few times over the years, and if he just takes a step back and says, you know what, I'm just the owner, I'll write the checks, I'll say nice things here and there, I'll show up once in a while, but I'm going to leave the business to other people, that may be for the best of the Ottawa Senators, really, in all honesty. So, from what I was reading with this, it sounds like that could be part of the picture here, that Melnick steps back a little bit. David Perron's last man in voting. There's been Blues fans that aren't happy he's not in the All-Star game. He's getting into the All-Star game. To the point where the Blues are actually having a signed Perron jersey giveaway if you vote 10 times and mention it. So he's getting in, and I think what the Blues have done here has been very well organized. You can't watch a broadcast right now from the Blues broadcast crew and not hear about Perron every 10, 20 seconds about how he's the last man in voting. There are players who are seemingly more willing to go to the All-Star game than others, and Perron, it looks like, would be very willing to go. Either that or the Blues don't really like Perron, and he's like, I really don't want to go. Well, we're going to make you go. But he'll get in. I can't see any situation where the Blues fans don't get him voted in. I can't see who else in the Central would get more votes. I mean, yes, there are other large fan bases in the Central as well, but this is a coordinated effort to get a guy in that people feel is snubbed. And you care about it until the day after the All-Star game, and then it doesn't matter anymore. There are no updates as of yet on Maroon or Palat. Palat, of course, was involved in that knee-on-knee with Hall and left the game. Maroon was elbowed in the second period by Carl Soderberg, and he left the game. What was said after the game was John Cooper said they shouldn't be serious. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. Does serious mean a week? Does serious mean 2 or 3, or do you mean they'll be back after the All-Star break? Like, just saying, I don't know, doesn't look that serious. That doesn't mean much. If you're called in by the doctor and the doctor goes, oh, it doesn't look that serious, and that's as far as they go with it. Anyways, yeah, so we don't have updates yet on how long they're going to be out, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be long. But the definition of what serious is, to me, anything over a week is a serious injury. That's something where you may have to look at making some roster moves and figuring some things out. But if it's less than that, it'll be fine. Last night, Tony DeAngelo became the second Rangers defenseman in team history to record 5 points in a game. He joins Brian Leetch in that category. So Tony DeAngelo, I've said all year, I'm saying it again, best value contract in the NHL, signed for less than $1 million. And when people say, well, he only plays in one direction, but what a direction that is. His offense is fantastic. So 5 points last night, I'm telling you, he is not very well compensated for what he's able to do. There are plenty of one-way players in this game that get paid a ton of money because they're really, really good at going that one direction. So, yeah, we'll see if DeAngelo can keep this up. But right now, he looks pretty impressive for the Rangers. And according to Bob McKenzie, he's reporting that the Rangers are in no hurry to move on from Elias Anderson. Anderson has been dealing with some stuff. He needed to step away. And this is one of those things where sometimes we just look at the product on the ice and we don't consider what the player is going through off the ice as well. So Anderson's been dealing with some stuff, and the Rangers don't seem to be in a hurry to move on. He may very well be Rangers property through the deadline. I still think Anderson, Puljujarvi, find a way to make that work. Send Puljujarvi to the Rangers because that's where Edmonton players tend to go, right, Strom? And just see if Anderson fits in well with the Oilers. I think it would be a good pickup. The Oilers still could use another forward, and Anderson could be a nice pickup for them. So we'll see what happens there. But apparently there's nothing imminent. Just like we haven't seen any move with Josh Hosang. He's still Islanders property, and it's January. So in October, when I'm like, wait, what are they doing? And everybody said, hey, Shannon, settle down. They're working on a trade. Yeah, now he's in Bridgeport, and I assume they're still working on a trade. It's only been 3 months. Pittsburgh. According to Pierre LeBrun, they're still looking at moving Galchenyuk. And they're looking at trying to replace Jake Gensel. So, if Galchenyuk was looking at that roster spot and going, hey, I could fill in for Jake Gensel and prove I belong here, apparently Pittsburgh may not be entirely interested in that outcome. So Jim Rutherford may be looking at making a hockey deal in order to find a solution. Tyler Toffoli may end up being the guy. One thing that I heard somebody say was they may be gun shy because of their last instance with picking up a player from the Kings, which was Tanner Pearson. I don't think so. I mean, Toffoli and Pearson are different players. But if that means that eventually Toffoli would go to Pittsburgh and then he'd end up coming to Vancouver in a deal that would benefit Vancouver, be okay with me. Pearson's been pretty good for Vancouver. So, we'll see what ends up happening with the Penguins, but odds are they will be active around the trade deadline. And whether or not Galchenyuk goes and what they would get back for Galchenyuk could be very interesting. Dallas fans have been asking, so I'm going to talk about this here. Stephen Johns, who hasn't played a game since the 2017-2018 season, so he's been out for a year and a half. Been a very slow process getting him back. And apparently in practices, Jim Nill says he's been looking good. The coaching staff in Dallas, all brand new since he got injured, anxious to start working with him. However, the timeline still remains open. So while he's in the American Hockey League right now, and he's working through his conditioning, and they're working on bringing him back up and getting him into the lineup, there's no telling on just how prepared he's going to be. Now, if John suffers any kind of a setback, or if he's not the same player he was before the injury, we could see the Dallas Stars in the market for a defenseman at the deadline. If he comes back into the lineup And if he bolsters their blue line, if he can play top 4 minutes, or even just, number 5 minutes, almost top 4, it may very well alleviate the need for another blue liner. I don't know that Dallas necessarily needs a lot more on that blue line either. You look at the overall defensive numbers, you look at shots allowed, you look at all this stuff. Dallas's defense is playing pretty well. I would be kind of nervous if they mortgaged their future or, gave up a lot of assets to try to improve a blue line that's actually been pretty good. And I think back to San Jose when they went all in to go out and get Erik Karlsson, and now we see where San Jose's at. And it wasn't a move that made a lot of sense at the time. And similarly, if Dallas, and obviously there's no Erik Karlsson type on the market, but if Dallas mortgaged with like a first or second rounder and prospects to bring in a top 4 defenseman, I think it could actually end up being a mistake. So we'll see what they do, and we'll see what Johns does as well when he comes up. Wishing him only the best and all of that, because I like Stephen Johns. I think he's a good top 6 defenseman. I don't know about top 4, but I think he's a decent enough top 6 defenseman, and it would be nice to have that depth back into the lineup. And I'm going to close out on this with a question for Toronto fans mostly. So Tavares' numbers are down compared to last season. Matthews' numbers are up. Now, Matthews says he's healthy this year, which is a big part of the reason the numbers are up, and you can't discount that. But Marner now is on the Matthews line. So, and Sportsnet's asking this question, so I'm going to ask you guys this question. Is Marner part of the reason Matthews' numbers are up and Tavares' numbers have settled back into more of his career average? And I talked going into Marner's contract negotiations about how I felt he had improved Tavares' game and Tavares' numbers. And there was a lot of people who said, well, no, it's the other way around. Now he's got Tavares to pass to. So Tavares has been the benefit to Marner, not Marner benefiting Tavares. Tavares has always been a great goal scorer, even though 47 was a career high for him last year. So does Matthews' numbers being up and Tavares' numbers being down, is that coincidental? Or is it related to the fact that Mitch Marner is not on the wing with John Tavares right now? Because it's an interesting point, and I have said for years I think Mitch Marner is the MVP of the team, and behind the scenes, I don't know what goes on with this team. I don't know what the players would say if you ask them, hey, honestly, who do you think the MVP is? But I think that what Marner does is somewhat underrated. So maybe I overstated at times, but I think Matthews, when he hits 50 goals, and as long as he stays healthy, he will hit 50 goals this year. I think some of that has to do with finally playing with Marner. And then a side question becomes, does that make you angrier with Mike Babcock that he didn't put the two of them together? I understood why Babcock didn't do it at the time, but you know what? It's working really, really well, and it makes Sheldon Keefe look really smart putting them together when they've wanted to play together the whole time. So does it make it make Leaf fans angrier with Babcock that he didn't do it sooner? Or is it like, okay, well, we're enjoying it now, so it's okay, the past is in the past, and this is great? Or is it just coincidental? And Tavares is going to have a fantastic second half, end up getting to 40, 45 goals, and Matthews cools off. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through, you just happened upon this video. The snow has either slowed down or it's turning to rain. Yep. While I was talking to you guys, it went from pure snow, and now I look out there and I'm seeing rain. So, means it's good packing snow, but it's not going to last. So there you go. That's lower mainland weather for you. I started this video 13, 14 minutes ago now. It was snowing. Now I look outside and I go, yeah, it's rain. Yeah, here you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing right through. You just happened upon this video. Thanks for everything. I will talk to you again soon.